Desmond Bain are all out. So Scottie Pippen Jr. is another big one.
Man, sounds like NBA is kind of following the NFL model a little bit with the amount of high-profile injuries, but in a lot quicker period of time. Only we're on the third week of the season, I believe, at this point. So, yeah, pretty wild there, all the injuries. But hey, that gives opportunities for people that may not have had a lot of opportunity. And if you're on top of your fantasy game and you listen to Doc A and the Sports Ethos podcast, you know who to get quickly so that you can take a good lead in your fantasy league. Doc, speaking of teams that are playing well, the Cleveland Cavaliers off to a super hot start. Another win last night over the Bulls. They improved to 12-0 and have an opportunity to get to that 15-0 number with their schedule coming up. But I came across this and I was baffled. I think this was Saturday night. At halftime, Cleveland was up 83-42 over this at the time 7-1 Golden State Warriors. Well, what's the reason for this such unbelievable hot start for the Cleveland Cavs?
I don't really know. What I do know is, one, their starting lineup of Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen have all been awesome. And then on their bench, they've got Karis LeVert, Ty Jerome, and both of those guys have been making significant contributions to that team. And the other thing that they're doing that some other teams don't do is they've got a very tight rotation of 8, 9 guys that they play every night. And all 8 of those guys are playing very well. So they're just all picking each other up. And, if you're going to go 12-0 in the NBA, there's going to be some luck involved.
Yeah.
But Cleveland is rolling people, and they don't care if they're playing on the road or at home. They're equally as incredible. And another interesting thing about the Eastern Conference in the NBA right now, dude, Cleveland is 12-0. Boston is 9-2. Nobody else in the entire conference, which is 15 teams, is over 500.
Phew.
And if you go to the Eastern Conference standings page, you'll have to scroll down on your computer to find the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers, because they both only won 2 games. So it's pretty bizarre and pretty bad in the East right now.
Man, that's a little top heavy to say the least. But hey, you and David's Indiana Pacers right there in third, 5-5, looking pretty good right now. Talking about, you were talking about those injuries as well, but how devastating is Chet Holmgren's pelvic fracture going to be for the Thunder?
That's a great question. First of all, before I get into that, he's gone until late February, early March is my guess. That's forever. And last night, Jalen Williams started at center for the Thunder. And in fantasy basketball, if a guy makes a certain amount of starts or gets a certain amount of minutes at center, ESPN and Yahoo generally will add center to their position eligibility. And unlike fantasy football, Kyler Murray only plays quarterback. Well, now, if they give Jalen Williams center eligibility, he's going to play shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. He already qualifies at 3 of those. But if you can start a shooting guard as your starting center, it just gives you so much flexibility. My recommendation would be go trade for Jalen Williams now before he gets that center eligibility, because it's a big deal. And as far as Chet and his loss, it's big. It in the grand scheme of can they win the championship without him, I don't know. Will they make the playoffs without him? Yes. Will they still win a ton of games with a small lineup? Yes. They also have the luxury of having Isaiah Hartenstein, who's injured right now. He's going to be back within 2 weeks, and they'll just plug him right in at center. So we have to hope that Jalen Williams gets that center eligibility before Hartenstein gets healthy.
Now, could they remove it if he's not playing enough minutes, or is it once it's given a designation, they leave it?
Once it's given, it should stay there all year.
Nice.
This year.
Nice. Wow, that could be a huge advantage, getting all those shots in the center position. No doubt. Very cool insight there, Doc A. That's we appreciate that one. All right, we're on the cusp of it. I believe it starts tonight, formerly known as the in-season tournament, the NBA Cup, set to get underway. Do you care? Do you think it's good for the game? What do you think about the NBA Cup now that it's been renamed?
I didn't really care about it, as you know, in the past.
Yes.
But now it's making things very interesting because I know you're going to ask me about who I'm picking tonight, and I will let the good people down there in Northwest Florida know that I was very cold with my picks this weekend. But the thing about this tournament is point differential matters, and we heard a lot of teams crying about it. A lot of teams crying about it last year. Like, we didn't know that we had to blow people out to get in. So every point matters in these games. And tonight, the Celtics are favored by 15.5 against the Hawks. And they're going to try to blow the Hawks out. The Hawks don't have Trae Young tonight, so it's doable. The Celtics should blow them out. But the Celtics may not play Jason Tatum. They may not play Al Horford. We don't know it. But that point differential element makes me a little nervous to go all in and make a bunch of bets on this first set of games. I kind of want to sit back and watch and see what happens tonight and then try to wrap my head around that before I get serious about betting on these games. But, in theory, the Celtics should win by 25 points tonight. So maybe you take Boston minus 15.5 points. But I'm pretty sure that in my 56 years of living, I've never bet on an NBA team to win by 16 points.
Yeah, that's a big number. But, and especially the fantasy implications that differential has as well. That just means people aren't going to be coming out as early as they would, and they're going to keep pushing it. And, I forgot about that aspect of it, but that certainly makes it a little more interesting from a fantasy and betting side, no doubt about it. And a lot of games, it's between now and like December 12th, something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know the dates, man. I'm a fantasy guy.
Yeah.
I just care about players. But yeah, I think it lasts for about a month, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah, and then and they got quarterfinals, semifinals, and let's see. Here, I got it right here. All right, NBA Cup. Now the official name. 6 groups of 5 teams each, 4 teams in group play, which runs Tuesdays and Fridays between now and December 3rd. The 6 group winners plus 2 wild cards advance to the quarterfinals. Semifinals are on December 14th and 17th in Las Vegas. And, of course, they still have the crazy courts. And I didn't know about this whole thing until I turned on a game and saw the crazy courts. And I was like, what is that for? And then you're like, oh, that's the in-season tournament, now known as the NBA Cup.
I think when Kamba and I go live tonight at midnight, which, if you're interested in that, if you care about the NBA, you should watch that show. Follow me on Twitter, DOCKTORA. And I put the live link, like how to tune in live, on my Twitter every night before the show. But I think we're more excited to talk about the courts tonight than we are anything else. Like, these courts are going to be nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see getting away from that traditional hardwood action and, adds a different element into it, and will certainly. And I think it's good for the younger viewers too. Like it's just stuff like that when it's different and unique and cool seems to bring in maybe an audience that maybe not have watched. And I know we're just talking about a court, but still pretty cool stuff. All right, Doc, real quick before we get to your picks, I know you had a story about Mike Pence, but it's not a political story, just a story about Mike Pence.
Well, my roommate in college is now the governor of Indiana. He was the best man in my wedding, one of my best friends of all time, Eric Holcomb. He was Mike Pence's lieutenant governor when Pence was the governor of Indiana in 2016.
Gotcha.
And Holcomb called me and he said, do you and Casey want to go to the Indy 500 with the governor? And I was like, absolutely. Sign me up. So he gets us all hooked up, and we met at the governor's mansion in Indianapolis. We rode on a bus over there, and the bus actually was on the wrong side of the interstate going to the racetrack. They had the road all shut down for us. We get there in 4 minutes, no traffic, flow through. We get into the governor's suite, and I said hello to Mike Pence. He went to the same college as Eric and I did, but he's older than us. So he knows who I am, but we don't really know each other that well. And later on, after a couple beers, I'm at the Indy 500 after all, I need to go to the bathroom. So I go into the bathroom, which is outside the suite, and Pence is in there going to the bathroom, and there's 2 security guards, and they checked me out, and I was like, Governor Pence. He's like, hey, buddy. I go, how was your helicopter flight today? He goes, it was awesome. How was your bus ride? I'm like, it was amazing. I said, we didn't stop one time. He goes, that's the way we do it. And I said, Holcomb was the best man in my wedding. And he said, well, Holcomb's the best man in my administration. And so this is just 2 dudes going to the bathroom next to each other, talking smack. And then, so I was like, all right, man, I'll see you later. And I walk out the bathroom door, and Lady Gaga had just got done doing a parade lap in a race car, and she's walking by herself, holding her helmet. And I run right into her as soon as I come out of the bathroom. And I go, Gaga! And she goes, hey! I'm like, how was your race car? She's like, it was awesome. And then I went back inside the suite, and I told my wife, I'm like, you aren't going to believe this. Yeah, that's that story.
Man, you've seen and done it all. That's for sure. Man, running. I can just kind of picture your face when you run into Lady Gaga after shooting the breeze in the restroom with former governor of Indiana, Mike Pence. Yeah, good.
Well, and then right after that happened, Trump picked Pence to be his vice president, and then Holcomb ended up running against 2 other people for governor and got elected, and now he's in his 8th year of his term. So crazy stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. Small world. All right, we'll go quick. These are with the spreads, Doc A. So I'm just going to read off a Hard Rock, which is legal here in Florida. So if people want to bet it, they can. Atlanta at Boston. Boston's a 14.5-point favorite on Hard Rock.
Oh, it's down to 14.
On Hard Rock, anyway, yeah.
I think if I'm God, I'm not going to tell you to go big on these, but I'm going to go with the Celtics because of the differential.
Okay. Got it. All right. The Hornets at the Magic. Magic are a 7.5-point favorite.
The Hornets are kind of banged up. So are the Magic.
7.5 is a pretty big number.
I was going to say, I'm going to go Hornets.
All right. Hornets.
They still got LaMelo.
There you go. With the points. All right. Heat at the Pistons. Heat are a 1.5-point favorite.
Jimmy Butler is out. The Heat have not been playing any better than the Pistons. I don't like the Heat, so I'm just going to go Pistons.
Hey, if you don't like the Heat, just stay out of the kitchen, Doc. All right. Pistons, all right, got it. And next, Knicks at 76ers. Knicks getting 3 on the road.
Welcome back, Joel Embiid. Goodbye, Tyrese Maxey. I think this is a get-right opportunity for the Sixers. Paul George and Embiid need to step up. I'm going to go Sixers at home.
All right, with the 3. I like that one. All right, the Raptors at the Bucks. Bucks a strong 8.5-point favorite at home.
Damian Lillard is out. He has a concussion. The Raptors are really banged up. They don't have Scotty Barnes. I'm going to go with Giannis and the Bucks.
Okay.
But I don't feel great about it.
All right, 3 more, Doc. 3-man pool asterisk next to that one. Suns at the Jazz. Suns getting 4 on the road.
Kevin Durant out for a few weeks.
Man,
that's going to hurt the Suns. The Jazz are tanking. They're not good. Phoenix is good. I'm going to go Phoenix.
All right, Suns on that one. All right, sorry, I'm keeping track of all these. Mavs at the Warriors. Warriors getting 2.5 at home.
Game of the night. The Warriors are coming home after a road trip. That usually spells trouble for NBA teams. Luka wants to show up Steph Curry tonight. Klay Thompson is back
Klay, yeah.
at Golden State. I'm going Mavs.
All right, Mavericks getting 2.5 points in that one. And then last but not least, the Timberwolves at the Trailblazers. Minnesota an 8.5-point favorite on the road.
Blazers are a disaster. I don't care that the Timberwolves are on the road. I don't care that the Blazers have won 3 games. Also, the Blazers are 1-4 at home. I'm going Timberwolves.
All right. There you go. I like it, Doc. I'll keep track of it, and I'll let you know next week how we did, because I'm going to throw a couple of those.
Only tell me if I did well.
Okay. Well, I hope you do well so I can tell you, because that'll be good for the both of us. All right, Doc, we appreciate you as always. Go follow Doc on Twitter. It's Doctora, D-O-C-T-O-R-A. He'll sports ethos every night, 11 p.m. Central Time Zone, for all your NBA recap and pickups of that next day. Doc, we appreciate you as always. Have a great rest of your week.
It's D-O-C-K.
Doc.
Right.
That's right. I knew there was a tricky part of it. It's
There's
like
a K in there.
Yes.
Dr. A was already taken.
That makes sense. Like the butt man.
I will see you guys next Tuesday.
Sounds great, Doc. We appreciate you. All right, you guys are listening to The Inside Drive. When we get back, we're not going to have a ton of time, but we're going to talk a little bit about the college football upsets over the past weekend and the absolute butt whoopings. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
This just in.
Get the latest sports news, scores, and updates from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Follow us on Facebook for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes action, live streams, and the chance to interact with your favorite hosts.
Stay connected. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Join the conversation on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Search for ESPN Northwest Florida and crush the follow button.
I follow you on social media.
We're always here to keep you in the game.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Lucid Stream TV. Get over 2,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch local network channels from most major markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Lucid Stream TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks. Or watch 10,000 and movies on demand, including recent theater releases. Just $41.99 a month when you use the ESPN-NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Lucid Stream TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Lucid Stream TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Lucid Stream TV logo.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. New college football playoff rankings revealed tonight on ESPN. I believe it's about 6 p.m. our time in the Central Time Zone. And 2 of the teams that were in the top 4 spots lost this past weekend. So it's going to be a lot of chaos all the way through the final ranking after championship weekend. And so nothing will be set in stone for a long time. But certainly you want to be near the top to give yourself a best chance there. Let's start with the big one over there in Oxford, David. The Ole Miss Rebels kind of put it on the Georgia Bulldogs. They won that one 28-10. Georgia, Carson Beck just continues to throw interceptions that make a big difference in these games. And we talked about it last week. When was it going to catch up to them? And, Carson Beck was 20 of 30.
Done caught up.
It did caught up. And the Georgia Bulldogs dropped their second game of the season. They're now 7-2, 5-2 in the conference. The Ole Miss Rebels 8-2, 4-2 in the conference. Ole Miss, though, not that it's a big deal, but they're missing about $350,000, if I'm not mistaken, for jumping on the field. But hey, 16 over a 3. Yeah, it's a big upset. It's more that they wanted to beat Georgia, I'm sure. It's surprising. I don't know if surprising is right.
I don't think that the students are sitting there like, what are our rankings?
Yeah.
Can we justify
if we beat Georgia,
this?
we're going on the field.
The numbers could have been reversed, and Ole Miss could have been number 3 in the land, and Georgia could have been 16, and I still think you get the same exact result in good form, because that's been the hump really for Ole Miss, which is surprising because they've already lost to LSU and Kentucky this year, but it's been the Georgias and the Alabamas that's been tough for them to get by them, and Lane Kiffin had a lot to say about that last year, and they got by them, and they did it in a very dominant fashion, and they made Georgia look somewhat pedestrian. In fact, really, you go back to Georgia's 2 losses this year, and for 3 halves of football, they have looked like a very beatable team. Especially, if I'm Kirby Smart, and this probably is not this isn't the smart move. Obviously, he's the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, but I might think about you got Tennessee this week, so it would be tough. But man, if he's slinging 2 or 3 picks in the next game, come sit by me for a little while, bud, because we got to figure out what Sid the Sloth can do a little bit better. Yeah, no doubt. You need your quarterback to be playing at the highest level this time of year, and I don't want to say he's regressed, but he's certainly not hasn't been progress.
No, so stagnant, I guess, is what we could say. But in that field storming, a story that kind of has been bouncing around a little bit. Old Jake Pope celebrating on the field. And what was it? His high school roommates?
Yeah, but I don't care. I'm pushing my high school roommate over. Yeah. Like, get off me, bro. We could talk about it later. I'm happy that you get to be happy, but I'm not happy right now.
Yeah, just one of the more bizarre things that you're going to see in a college football game and the whole overall experience. But yeah, Jake Pope was jumping up and down with his high school roommates on the field. And when Kirby Smart was asked about it, he simply said, "What an idiot. I mean, just stupid." I didn't see it till today, but he's embarrassed about it. He's upset about it. Just not real smart. To be honest with you, I don't have energy to waste on that. I'm looking forward to Tennessee.
That old Bill Belichick answer, basically.
Yep. Yeah, but not good. Obviously, Jake Pope came out and issued a statement that he wanted to say he was sorry for the way it was taken out of perspective and caused distractions for his teammates and coaches. He went on and on to say, in no way, shape, or form would I ever celebrate a loss in this program, and anyone who knows me well knows that. At the same time, why are you out there jumping around then?
Yeah, big old smile on your face, too.
Get your butt in the locker room and be with your team after you just got...
it's like, well, I mean, what could you be jumping up and down about at that point other than
like you said, I don't care if it's you haven't seen this person who's your best friend, you haven't seen him in 20, it doesn't matter.
A little quick handshake will suffice.
Yeah, good to see you. I'm going to go, be very disappointed. It's just not what you expect after a loss, but certainly makes for some interesting social media action. And then, of course, the other big game that transpired this past weekend, I don't even really know, the Tiger coming out. Carol Baskins got her. She got excited, and
was she there at the game?
No, but she had commented.
That was a boring football game.
Yeah, from that aspect. Yeah. Yep. When you're absolutely putting it on another team, just 42-13, the Alabama Crimson Tide needed.
I mean, fun for me to watch, but still, yeah, you get past basically the second half. It's like, all right, well.
Let me flip it over to BYU.
No, I didn't flip it over. Yeah. No, because that game didn't even start till it was pretty much over.
9:30-ish, something like that. But yeah, Alabama 42-13, a much-needed win for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I think LSU is going to fall pretty far after that one, most likely out of the playoff race.
Jalen Milroe just had a huge game, but I mean, it's conducive when you're in a game that has weather that basically forces both teams to run the ball a lot more because it was tough to pass, and so that was that really helped Alabama. And so Garrett Nussmeier wasn't able to have his best game either. But Jalen Milroe, man, we'll see if it comes down to him having to pass the ball to bring Alabama out of the pits or whatever. I don't know how well that works out, but if he's able to just use his pure athleticism, they're in good position.
Yeah, no doubt. But 185 yards on 12 carries, including a 72-yard burst, 4 touchdowns on the ground. But like you said, he's going to have to put the ball in the air to win some games down the stretch.
Well, it's not even just putting it in the air. It's getting those intermediate passes down accurately because he can throw the deep ball, and he throws the deep ball pretty accurately. But it's what about the middle, which matters a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's the whole game in NFL and college is that middle of the field, that 8 to 15 yards intermediate depth. And that's where your schemes and your accuracy are huge because you're trying to get guys open. You're trying to get them moving after the catch. And if the ball is not accurate and put in the right place, certainly gets hard to do that. Some other scores throughout the past weekend. Number 1, Oregon beats Maryland handedly, 39-18. Ohio State didn't even sniff a worry with Purdue, as kind of expected, 45-0 in that one. And then Georgia Tech upsetting the number 4 team in the country. And Georgia Tech's just, it's kind of their MO the last few years.
You're a team from Florida, man. Yeah. You're going to have a tough time with Georgia Tech.
No doubt. The Ramblin' Wreck, 28-23 in that one. Potentially, although Cam Ward had a great game, but he had to, come back throughout the game. But potentially, taking him out of the Heisman race there. Texas just...
I kept on hitting the Miami money line, too.
That's one I tried to do. And I was like, oh, come on. You guys got this. You got this. You're going to come back. I think I sent you. I said, I'm gonna pull David Hayes here and get the favorite initially, but then get them with a nice value some point in the game. But Georgia Tech just able to run the football and do enough to not let the Miami Hurricanes stay undefeated. Texas too much for Florida. Quinn Ewers 5 touchdown passes, 333 yards as Texas rolled Florida 49-17. Penn State, Washington couldn't handle the 2 time zone travel. Fell with the trend 35-6 in this one. Obviously, Washington.
Oh wow! I don't even know if I've seen that score. Yeah. Wow, they whooped them.
Yeah, they did. Washington they just lost so much.
Yeah.
Just definitely not the same team they were last year. Tennessee, handled business 33-14 against the lowly Mississippi State. Tennessee now 8-1, I believe, leading the SEC at 5-1 if I'm not mistaken. And then the Indiana Hoosiers won a close game. Michigan tried to come back in that one towards the end, but Indiana held on enough to go 10-0 for the first time in program history. But Michigan was the most talented team probably they had faced so far this season, and they rose to the occasion and won that. And again, first 10-win season in Indiana history. So pretty cool stuff there. If you're an Indiana fan, alumni, or from the great state of Indiana. And then David Hayes, the sweat of the weekend. BYU comes back to beat Utah with 9 points in the fourth frame, 22-21 on a game-winning field goal to keep their undefeated season alive, 6-0 in the Big 12, and the champions of the state of Utah, so to speak. But yeah, BYU, just a lot of fun to watch them play. And whew, that was when you sent that stuff, I didn't see. I was asleep when you sent it, and then when I woke up in the morning, I saw them, so I went and checked the score. I was like, whoa, 22-21? That's amazing. And then I saw what you got. So I was like, yeah, good stuff.
It was one of those where, they're back on their own goal line, essentially. And each drive, like, they get to where it was, I believe, 21-16 or so. And you're like, all right, yeah, they're definitely coming back, because they had kind of started stymieing the Houston offense, and then they get that final possession, and it's a fourth down play, and it doesn't work out, and you're like, well, hey, we tried, and we'll just get back on the horse and get after it tomorrow. And then the next thing you know, the broadcaster was like, there's a flag on the play. I'm like, oh, yes, you already know what that means. Like, this is going in BYU's favor, bro. Yeah. So it was nice, man. It was nice.
Before we take a quick break, one more top 10 score. Number 10, Notre Dame. Oh, man, Florida State. They got 52-3. Good news is the soccer team, the girls soccer team, won the ACC championship for the 5th straight time. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We get back, we'll talk some more college football scores and then dive into some afternoon delight debriefs. You're listening to the Inside Drive here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. Detroit, finally. I don't think Detroit wins this game 2 years ago. I don't think Detroit wins that game last year on the road against the Houston-level team playing like that. The ultimate sign that Detroit has arrived. You can stink up the joint and beat C.J. Stroud and the Texans in Houston Sunday night.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, partly cloudy and a high of 78 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the east-northeast. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a gentle breeze and quite warm near 68. Partly cloudy and 77 tomorrow. 78 and a low chance of showers in the morning, followed by some clouds Thursday. This is your Tuesday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Well, it's that time of the year again, folks. Yep, Christmas is right around the corner. And to avoid the stress and rush, Tracy's Fine Jewelry is starting our Christmas sale early. That's right, all diamond jewelry is on sale for 30% off. All estate jewelry is on sale now for 40% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, and bracelets. Mark it off your list and lay away now. At Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we love to save you time and money. So avoid the rush and come see us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, where Santa shops.
WGSX Lynn Haven, W Field Q Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And we are back You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach. 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, follow. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also on Twitter as well. Just search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. We are live streaming every day. 3 great local shows right here on our great ESPN Northwest Florida family. Of course, you can download our free mobile app as well. If you already have, we appreciate it. If you haven't, just head over to your Google Play or Apple Store. 104.3 is all you have to search up. And then, of course, if you're looking for a great streaming service that's only going to cost you around $40 a month, they're currently doing a free 3-day trial. That is Lucid Streams TV. If you go to ESPNPC.com, scroll down a little bit till you see the TV channel icon. Click on that. Follow the instructions to sign up. If you use code ESPN-NW, it's going to get you about $40 a month, $480 a year for over 2,000 channels, 10,000 plus movies, even some movies that were just released. And, of course, all the pay-per-view events, all the football games, college, NFL, also all baseball, hockey, NBA, tennis, whatever other sports you want to watch on streaming. Lucid Streams has that for you. Got to thank our studio sponsor. That's Bill Kramer, GM, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor. If you're looking for that big-time Christmas present, Bill Kramer, GM, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor can take care of whoever you're looking to get. That's new vehicles, used vehicles, maybe a new set of tires, whatever it may be. Bill Kramer, GM, can help you out on the vehicle side. It doesn't even have to be a GM if you wanted to get service. They have express service, regular service, all sorts of great stuff going on over there. Bill Kramer, GM. And, of course, when it's not raining, when it's not windy, it's a great time to be out on the water to do some fishing. And if your boat is currently not working, Kramer Marine and Outdoor can get you hooked up with their mobile service. They'll come out to you to get you back out on the water. Also, if you're looking to add any accessories to your boat, they've got everything you could possibly want. They sell the family of Seabourn, Spider, Sundance, and
Skeeter.
You can check out all that new and used inventory at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. Yamaha Master Certified Mechanics on staff, amongst many other things. All right, let's finish up with the top 25 college football ranking scores, or college football playoff ranking scores from this past weekend. Number 12, Boise State holds on to beat Nevada 28-21. They are 8-1, 5-0 in that Mountain West Conference. Ashton Jeanty doing Ashton Jeanty things, 34 carries, 209 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kansas, the Jayhawks, kind of coming out of nowhere to take down number 17, Iowa State, 45-36. Hope you bet the over. Lots of scoring in that one. Iowa State falls to 7-2, 4-2 in the Big 12. Virginia, the Cavaliers, upset number 18, Pittsburgh, 24-19. Pittsburgh now 7-2, 3-2 in the ACC. Virginia kind of right there around 500. The Colorado Buffaloes are now 7-2 after a solid victory over the Texas Tech Red Raiders, 41-27. Shedeur Sanders, 30 of 43, 291, 3 touchdowns, and they look good. They played well. They played well and got a much-needed win, especially with all these other teams dropping by losing games. So interesting to see how the next
Iowa State lost again too, I believe.
Yep. Iowa State lost. Kansas State lost. So hey, they're kind of right where they need to be. Right where they need to be. Got some potential big-time Big 12 championship game. BYU Colorado would just be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be. I think any Big 12 matchup that would be a lot of fun to watch.
Bet the over.
Yeah.
Always bet it in the Big 12. Washington State 49, Utah State 28. Clemson, despite down at halftime 7-0 against the Hokies, scored 24 points in the second half to beat Virginia Tech 24-14. Clemson moves to 7-2, 6-1 in the ACC. Oklahoma, another loss in the SEC. They dropped to 1-5. Their only SEC win over those lonely Auburn Tigers. Missouri 30, Oklahoma 23. And then last but not least in the top 25, Army, a solid victory, 14-3 over North Texas. Army improves to 9-0, 7-0 in the American Conference. I'm looking forward to that Army-Navy game this year, as it should certainly be a lot of fun. All right, quick update on the standings. Again, college football playoff rankings will come out tonight. I want to say about 6 p.m. our time.
I was looking that up, but
Give or take. It's somewhere between 6 and 8.
Well, they have, like if there's big basketball games on, college basketball games, they'll schedule it in between the 2 basketball games. I know that they did that last year, so I'll let you know here in a second.
Gotcha. Sounds good. On the ACC side of things, SMU 5-0, 8-1. What a world of the first college football playoff if SMU becomes your ACC champion. Clemson Tigers in second, Miami now in third as they drop their first game of the season to the Rambling Wreck. Louisville 4-2, and then a host of teams with 3 losses in the ACC. 7:30 Central.
Yes, 8:30 Eastern.
Nice.
Yeah, because they've got Michigan State and somebody playing, and then I believe Duke and Kentucky. Yeah, Michigan State versus Kansas, and then Duke versus Kentucky.
Nice. All right, over there on the Big 12 Conference, as we mentioned, the Cougars are now 6-0. Buffalo's 5-1. Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, West Virginia, all 4-2, and then a host of teams with 3 losses as well. The Big 10 led by the Indiana Hoosiers and the Oregon Ducks, both 7-0 in the conference. Ohio State 5-1, Nittany Lions 5-1. Big matchup coming up this weekend. Ohio State, Indiana, and of course it's a 11 a.m. kickoff, the big noon kickoff. Like, come on, man, flex this to at least an afternoon game. Man, Penn State, Ohio State was at 11. Ohio State, Indiana's at 11. I don't know. I'm sure it has to do with TV contracts.
Well, yeah, and that's just kind of like the Big Ten's motive. Like they play the big games during the afternoon. They always have Ohio State, Michigan, especially since they've been on Fox. Because Fox is trying to get their best game there to like start the competition with the big noon kickoff in College Game Day.
Yeah. Makes sense. But we had a lot more fun for the fans if it was a little bit later in the game. Maybe a little rowdier. I don't know. Mountain West led by the Boise State Broncos 5-0. Colorado State is 4-0 in that conference as well. Long way to go. A lot more conference games still to be played. Like we mentioned, Southeastern Conference, the SEC, led by the Tennessee Volunteers and the Texas A&M Aggies at both at 5-0.
Ohio State and Indiana don't play this week, though.
Oh, it's next week?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, dang, I was excited.
I know. That's why I was like, I wanted to make sure.
I can see it on your face. You're like, I don't know if that's right.
Because, Max has been all over Indiana this year, and he's been talking about the bye before Ohio State being absolutely huge for him.
Yeah, that is massive.
Yeah.
That is massive. I'm assuming Ohio State does play this. Maybe they have a bye, too. I don't know.
I'll find out.
There you go. The internet's a magical thing. Like I said, Tennessee, Texas A&M, both 5-1, but Tennessee is 8-1 on the season. The Aggies are 7-2. Texas Longhorns 4-1, 8-1 on the season, just like Tennessee. Georgia drops to 5-2 in the SEC. Ole Miss now 4-2. Alabama 4-2. Missouri 3-2. LSU 3-2, and then 3 teams anyway with 3 losses: South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas. And then it goes to the bottom there. Mississippi State at 0-6. Kentucky at 1-6, Auburn and Oklahoma both 1-5 in the conference.
Ohio State plays Northwestern this Saturday. They're playing at Wrigley.
Yeah, yes, they are playing at Wrigley. It's pretty cool. They were getting the field ready for it. So basically a bye week there for Ohio State. Hopefully.
Northwestern's 4-5, 2-4 the Big Ten. The spread's 28.5. Yeah. A tune-up game.
You just want to avoid any major major injuries in games like that leading up to a big game of football. All right, I got a couple afternoon delight debriefs. This one I've been kind of holding on to for a little while, and kind of a really interesting story, and it has to do with Connor McGovern. Weeks before his life changed, Connor McGovern sat at a dinner table at his family's lake house near the South Dakota-Minnesota border. I said it with the accent a little bit there. His family gathered around him, along with college teammate Clay Rhodes, who couldn't believe what he was hearing. The 2016 NFL Draft was weeks away. McGovern, who was then a standout offensive lineman in Missouri, was expected to be taken in the later rounds. You realize that you're walking away from more money in the family business compared to going to the NFL. Rhodes recalled McGovern's grandfather, Ron Offit, saying, Rhodes thought Offit might have misunderstood his grandson's draft projection. McGovern was in position to earn millions of dollars over his first contract. But as the conversation continued, Rhodes realized Offit's appraisal was valid. My jaw kind of dropped, Rhodes tells Front Office Sports. I'm like, this guy's serious. There are only so many family businesses lucrative enough to make an athlete consider passing on going pro. McGovern's is one of them. Offutt, a fourth-generation farmer known as the Sultan of Spuds, has grown his company into the country's largest commercial potato producer and its primary provider of the ones used in McDonald's French fries. R.D. Offutt operates out of multiple states. The family is the richest in North Dakota, worth more than $500 million. McGovern, meanwhile, is a New Orleans State center playing in his 8th season in the NFL and has sustained multiple injuries, playing in just 12 games over the past year and a half. Often teammates ask him the same question: why are you doing this? You can look up and find the full story on that, but Connor McGovern is the heir to the biggest potato empire in the country. But hey, if you love football, he's got a safety valve. He gets hurt, he doesn't get to play anymore. He's the heir to a lot of potato money.
Yeah, there you go, man. Potato money is just as good as real money if you're eating them.
Yeah, and if you got the contract to do McDonald's French fries, I don't think that's going anywhere anymore.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, this isn't a long story, but just a funny one, kind of. I found this one. It's archaeologists have unearthed a 4,000-year-old board game. Now, they just have to figure out the rules. And then the caption was, didn't Jumanji teach us anything?
Yeah, right. Let's leave those things in the box.
Oh, goodness.
Or the dirt, wherever you
found it. Go ahead and just put that thing back.
We got enough simulations going on as it is, right?
I don't need a big whirlpool opening up in the house with rhinos and other things running through it. But yeah, no, crazy. Wonder if it's like a Ouija board kind of thing. All right.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, but this one's got scarier stuff. Anyway, a couple is, I think I did this last year, so I was going to do it again. We have recent inductees into the National Toy Hall of Fame. In 2024, the new inductees are My Little Pony. I know that was probably one of Jay's big favorites growing up. Phase 10, the card game.
Me and my grandma, Grandma Hayes, we used to play that game a lot. That was one of her favorites.
I don't know if I've ever played Phase 10 or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a...
Similar to Uno?
I would say maybe, similar to Uno, but more similar to probably Rummy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gin Rummy. That's another classic. I haven't played that in a long time. And then Transformers have been inducted into the National Toy Hall of Fame. So, yeah. Fun facts.
Phase 10 was the only one I really played with. Never really got into Transformers, and if we had a My Little Pony in our house, that was definitely something utilized for BB gun target practice.
So you did play with it then?
No, if we had one. I highly doubt that we had. Maybe we had some of those like plastic horses. I don't think that's a My Little Pony.
No, I know what you're talking about.
That's My Big Horsey.
My Big Horsey. The opposite of My Little Pony. The ones that were inducted in 2023, you had baseball cards in general were inducted to the Toy Hall of Fame. You also had the Nerf ball, the world's first indoor ball, the original Nerf ball.
Yeah, just the ball.
Just the ball.
Man, Nerf was so awesome back in the day. And then like the football with the little tail fins on the back.
Whistles.
The whistling one,
And who was in that commercial? It was John Elway, maybe?
Oh.
It was somebody that they threw I don't know. They threw it 100 yards, something like that.
I think John Elway makes sense. Could have been Brett Favre, though.
Ooh, could have been. Both guys had big arms, no doubt about it. Big arms in terms of throwing the football. Also, the Fisher-Price Corn Popper was inducted last year as well, in addition to Cabbage Patch Kids. The Fisher-Price Corn Popper, I can hear that sound in my head. If you're pushing it just goes pop, pop, pop. Man, Nerf guns, they're crazy nowadays.
Nerf guns were awesome, and they're even better. It was John Elway.
Oh, okay.
John Elway. I think he was throwing it to Jerry Rice too.
Nerf spending the big dollars on getting athletes. Oof, man. But yeah, I didn't really. I think I remember doing last year at some point, so that came across, and I was like, you know what? We'll talk about it.
He threw it over 90 yards in that commercial. I don't know if he actually threw it that far, but
I would think so, right? Because he could probably throw it 60, 65 yards. So.
Yeah, I would imagine that he could, but
the aerodynamics and the lighter, but man,
that's a long whistle.
That is a long whistle. Hurts your elbow too because it's so light compared to the.
That's kind of what I was getting at. It's like you throw a regular football for a while, and then you throw that thing. And wouldn't be great for the arm.
Yeah, it's like trying to throw a golf ball a long way. It hurts. It hurts.
But you can hit a golf ball a long way with a baseball bat, baby.
Ting! Absolutely. Oh, I went to UPI.com, and guess what the first story is?
What's that?
The National Toy Inductees.
Hey, there you go.
So it was kind of on brand for us there. Here's a quick one. Loose wallaby caught on Kentucky security camera. Got to watch out for Rocco. A wallaby on the loose in Kentucky was caught on security camera during a nighttime visit to a Perry County's family's front yard. Lexi Mullins posted a video to Facebook showing the animal she initially believed to be a kangaroo hopping across the front lawn of her family's Chavis home. This was filmed in my yard at 9:05 p.m. Mullins wrote, "I never thought I would see the day." Experts from the Louisville Zoo reviewed the footage and said the animal was in fact not a kangaroo, but rather the marsupial's smaller cousin, a wallaby.
It's not a roo, it's a wallaby.
It's a wallaby. Local residents said they believe the animal to be an escaped pet, but no owner has yet to be identified. Wallabies are not specifically mentioned in Kentucky's list of prohibited exotic pets. I wonder if you could get away with a wallaby instead of a roo without having to fill out paperwork.
Well, if it's smaller, I'd probably feel a little bit safer around that thing since we'll be closer in size at that point. I was watching like a behind the scenes at a zoo type deal, and there was like this butcher, and apparently like they feed the cats roux.
Dang.
I was like, all right then.
Man. Whew.
I mean, they out in the wild, those animals are going to eat each other anyway.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
I watched a lot, like instead of watching movies this last weekend, I just like basically had it on National Geographic, and
you learn a lot.
Yeah, I guess subconsciously because I was basically sleeping the whole time. Then I watched National Lampoon's Vacation, not the Christmas Vacation,
the Vacation, the OG,
the OG,
yep, classic.
Thinking about getting one of them station wagons.
That would be epic.
Yeah,
that would be epic. I think Doc A had one. I think he's told us a story about that was early on Doc A when he was just dumping all his stories. Great stories, nonetheless. All right, here's a story about a penguin. An emperor penguin recovering after a 2,200-mile swim to Australia. It's a long way.
What's in Australia
Vacation.
for you, bud?
Vacation.
Yeah. He's like, I'm sick of all this ice, man.
He's like, I'm
it's
going.
snowing over here in Antarctica anyways. I'm just going to go. I'm going to evolve.
There you go. An emperor penguin is being cared for by wildlife experts after becoming the first member of its species to make the 2,200-mile trek from Antarctica to Australia. The Australian Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attraction said bilateral Achilles tendonitis said that the male penguin named Gus was malnourished when he first was spotted near Denmark, about 250 miles south of Perth in Western Australia. Of course he's malnourished. He just swam 2,200 miles.
Yeah.
Surfer Aaron Fowler was among the first to spot Gus emerging from the waves on November 2nd.
It's like, what kind of an animal is this? We don't even have these in our zoos over here.
There was this big bird in the water. We thought it was just another seabird, but then it kept coming closer to the shore, and it was way too big, and it just stood up and waddled right over to us, Fowler told the Albany Advertiser. Fowler theorized the bird, which showed an unusual comfort around the humans. Might have thought we were penguins because of our wetsuits. Carol Bodolf, a registered wildlife rescuer with the department, captured the penguin and brought her back to her facility for care. Never in my wildest thoughts would I have thought I'd ever have an emperor penguin to care for, she told the Australian Broadcasting Corp. It's just amazing. It's such a privilege to be part of this bird's journey. Gus initially weighed in at 51 pounds, far less than the 100-pound weight that is common for adult male emperor penguin. 100 pounds? That's a big old bird.
That's a big penguin.
Department of Biodiversity, Conservation, and Attractions officials said they are still looking into whether it would be feasible to bring Gus back to his home continent. Gus would be so pissed. He's like, guys, I just made the 20, and you're just going to take me back?
Yeah.
Come on. Let Gus stay in Australia. He'll be all right. They got penguins in South America, too, so he can handle that. Maybe
the
not
South Pole?
No, South America has penguins.
Well, no, I was kind of being facetious. South Pole.
South Pole. That is in Antarctica, supposedly. As long as it didn't, like you said, it didn't float away. But we'll go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Network. That is Brad Law. Talk a little football, but we're going to talk about some Auburn Tiger basketball as well. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your touchdown headquarters for the Mosley Dolphins and the Auburn Tigers. Plus, premier college and NFL games. Incredible! Your source for the most live football on the Gulf Coast in a rich audio experience.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. The remainder of the day, some clouds and 78 with a gentle breeze out of the east-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with lows around 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and a temperature near 77. Moving into Thursday, about the same with a high of 78 and a slight chance of showers in the morning followed by some clouds. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2024 Kia. You'll see why everyone is talking about Kia. The 2024 Kia will give you the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in a luxury sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia K5. Performance, power, and design built just for you. Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Bill Bird Kia, the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you just like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue? Then tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. The Panhandle's home for Auburn Tiger basketball. And we got one coming up tomorrow night. That is Auburn hosting Kent State. Coverage starts at 6:30. Tip off at 7 p.m. But it is every other Tuesday. It's 11:20 here in the Central Time Zone. That means we have our good friend Brad Law. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Network. Brad, how are you coming off that huge basketball win this weekend?
Doing absolutely great. Hope you guys are as well. Love Green Onions as the song coming back. That's a favorite. And, so it's kind of, look, we got beautiful weather. We got the top 5 basketball team, and a lot is to be celebrated. So good to talk to you again.
No doubt. Yes, David Hayes always bringing the intro songs back in to everybody's liking. So good stuff there. It's that connection we have here on the show. But before we dive deeper into basketball, do want to talk about football. Obviously, coming off the bye week, what's the team's focus, kind of to try to finish this season up on a high note?
Yeah, I hope it's just that. I mean, you got 3 games to go, so the room for error is now 0.
Yeah.
You got to win all 3 if you want to go to the postseason, and it's there. They're all 3 winnable games, just as so many of these games have been this year. The least winnable game on the schedule was Georgia, and you had 4th and 1 at midfield to make it a 1-possession game early in the 4th quarter in that one. So they're all winnable, and my hope is that. From the head coach to the coordinators to the position coaches to the players to the fans, that everybody is saying now is not the time to peel back. Now is not the time to plump your shoulders and put your chin on your chest. But this is shoulders back, head up, back straight. Let's go. Let's lean into it. Let's work the hardest we've worked. Let's focus the most we focused. Let's do the most we have all year this Saturday to beat ULM, and then try to replicate it against Texas A&M in a night game at Jordan-Hare to close the home portion of the schedule. And if you win a couple back-to-back like that, you get a little momentum going into Tuscaloosa, and that's a winnable game. So that's my hope, is that everybody who's invested anything in the program, from the top all the way down, says we're going to lean in and do even more now than we've done to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, got to win all three to become bowl eligible. But at the same time, you can win a couple big games and potentially play a spoiler in some playoff opportunities for both Texas A&M and Alabama. So, there's always something to some little caveat there. But with all that being said, is it is it this time we're still focused on this season, finishing out this season, or do we do some things to kind of prepare for the 2025 season?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think you do that yet, because you've still got a shot to go to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Now, if you lose this week or if you lose next week, then maybe it's different, but I don't know. The Iron Bowl's kind of its own animal. They're already playing a bunch of young guys on both sides of the ball. I'm not sure what, I don't know what looking ahead and playing guys for the future looks like beyond what you're already doing. I'm also kind of a believer in these guys are working hard, and they're going out and they're trying to execute, and they're giving you the best chance to win, or else they wouldn't be on the field, whether they're younger guys or older guys. And that's your objective every week. And you don't want to, you don't slide anybody. If the guys that are putting in the work and giving you the best chance to win, those are the guys that are out there. Now, at quarterback, Peyton Thorne didn't take many snaps last week, if any, in practice during the bye week because of an injury. And so we'll see. I mean, is he able to, is he the guy that still gives you the best chance to win if he couldn't practice last week? I don't know. If not, then you do see a younger guy in Hank Brown this Saturday, and I think that'll be what a lot of people are interested to see.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is Thorne still the guy? But you kind of answered that with, obviously, it's kind of up in the air. Injury last week, not practicing a lot with the first team reps, and obviously this week preparing for UL Monroe is. We'll find that out come later in the week. Let's pivot to that number 5 ranked Auburn basketball team. Obviously off to a great start, 2-0, a really big win over the Vermont Catamounts, and then of course a great win over the number 4 ranked team in the country, Houston Cougars. Talk about some of the newcomers to the team this year and the impacts they've had already.
Well, we've already seen a couple of 20-point games, 21-point games out of them. You had Miles Kelly, who was a double-digit scorer at Georgia Tech and a volume shooter, and he goes off against Vermont and hits 7 threes.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Electric, and it just, the building was. You would have thought it was a game against Kentucky or Tennessee or some other really good team in the SEC. They were just. It was unbelievable inside that building when he started, knocking them down. And then Houston keys on him, as they should have, because of what he did against Vermont. And the true freshman, Tahad Pettiford, goes off for 21 and is distributing the ball with Janai really well. Those are two of the guys that they've added that can go off and score in big volume for you if necessary. I think J.P. Pegues, who started at point guard the first 2 games of the year, and I think will continue to start at point for a while, gives you that ability. He just hasn't had to. He was a double-digit scorer at Furman. He just hasn't had to this point. So I think those are probably the newcomers that have stood out the most to this point and have given us kind of a glimpse early that this is a rebuilt backcourt, and you have many, many, many more weapons who on any given night, if Miles is not knocking them down, well, somebody else can. If Tahad's not knocking them down, somebody else can, and that's really hard to guard consistently.
Yep, absolutely. That was one of my questions. To be. It seems like the one of Bruce Pearl's signatures is always having so much depth on the team and being able to rotate a lot of guys, and kind of already seeing that same thing so far this year.
Yeah, it is, and we'll see. But all last year, I feel like we said we'll see when they get into league play if they'll keep the same rotation. They've got a pretty good rotation going right now. Off the bench, you have Tahad Pettiford, Chaney Johnson, Miles Kelly. Chaney has just kind of quietly put together double-figure games in each of the first two this year. He's totally transformed physically, and with the attitude that he plays with on the floor. He looks like a different player. And man, if he's giving you that off the bench and can win one-on-one matchups on both sides of the floor, it just stresses the other team so very much. And so, yeah, I don't know if we see 10, 11 guys play between 18 and 24 minutes or anything like that, but I think it's similar depth in the sense that when your second wave comes in, either individually or as a unit, they're just as capable of doing bad things to the opposition as the first wave.
Yeah, no doubt. Never like to look ahead on the schedule. Obviously, Kent State tomorrow night, North Alabama next Monday. But then a stretch of, looks like 6 games with 4 of those teams ranked inside the top 25. 2 of those teams ranked inside the top 10. That's Iowa State at home. And then, of course, a big one on the road against Duke and Cooper Flag. And then got Ohio State at home, Purdue at home. So just a really fun stretch of basketball to really see where these Auburn Tigers stand before even getting to league play.
No, I love it. It's the most challenging schedule they've ever had, and it's maybe the most talented team they've ever had, ever. Maybe not the Jabari Walker team, but maybe. At least it's in the discussion. And so you've got the challenge that fits it. And let's don't forget that Iowa State game is in Maui
on
Monday the 25th. And the rest of that bracket, you could potentially match up with North Carolina, who's ranked 10th right now, and you could potentially match up with UConn, who's ranked 3rd right now. So, if you look at the top 20, Auburn's going to play Alabama. It could play UConn. It will play Duke. It will play Iowa State. It could play North Carolina. It will play Tennessee. It will play Purdue. It will play Arkansas and Kentucky and Florida. And those teams are just the top 20 teams that Auburn either has or will or could play this year. That's the kind of schedule. It's not hyperbole to talk about how many opportunities are in this schedule.
Yeah, and this is kind of the formula to help you play well in the tournament is to have a very obviously you got to make it to the tournament first, of course, but to be battle tested throughout the regular season seems like it's kind of the game plan with this schedule to prepare the Tigers for a deep run into the tournament.
It is, and I would love to see these games in home and home venues, but right now the metrics that are used when you're giving out or awarding NCAA tournament seeds, you don't really, if you go get a win in a neutral site game like against Houston, that's going to help Auburn tremendously. Tremendously. It'll help more than a loss hurts, and that's kind of the computers factor that in whenever they spit out the information that the team uses to give out NCAA tournament seeds, and that's why you see so many of these neutral site opportunities: Purdue and Indiana, Ohio State and Atlanta, and Houston on the road in Houston and the Maui Invitational. You're going to load up the schedule with games like this because they just help you potentially, and they don't hurt you all that much if you drop them.
Yeah. No doubt. You mentioned the Alabama Crimson Tide. Auburn and Alabama both ranked inside the top 5. Alabama number 2 right now. We don't play them for a long, long time. The first of 2 matchups is on Saturday, February 15th. That's in Tuscaloosa. But then the final game of the season could be a massive one in Jordan Hare at Neville Arena against Alabama at home. Obviously a long way away, but man, what implications those 2 games could potentially have late in the season. Those are going to be that's going to be fun. That's for darn sure.
I wish they'd put that game in Jordan Hare, quite frankly.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I think it would be absolutely insane. No, if you look at the ESPN website right now, they have a link for their third-party ticket broker. And for every game on the schedule, if you look at their schedule, you see a little link, tickets as low as...
I saw that Duke game.
Yeah. Kent State, $26. North Alabama, $28. South Carolina, $19. Yeah, the Duke get-in price is $610.
$610.
The Alabama, just the get-in-the-door price for that game at Neville Arena, $228.
And that's probably a standing room only ticket, if I had to guess.
Probably no. I think you're right. Yeah, it probably is. So, but that's the way it is. These games, all of these home games, they've become social events. They've become the entertainment spot here when Auburn plays basketball at home, and it's marvelous to see. It is the standard. It's not a building process. It has been built, and now it's a sustaining process, and it's a thing that those of us who remember, and everybody who remembers is just anybody who's older than like 20 years old. When this wasn't the case for Auburn basketball, you never get tired of it. You never take it for granted. It is a blast every single time we get to go in there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I did see that Sonny Smith was retiring his duties as an analyst for Auburn basketball. Can you talk about him real quick for those who may not know?
There's none better than Sonny Smith. Sonny, of course, was the coach here in the late 70s through the mid 80s, and at the height of what was the height of Auburn basketball until BP got here. He was the guy. He was Charles Barkley's coach and Chuck Person's coach, and they took Auburn to the Elite Eight, which is the farthest they had gone until the Final Four year, and just universally beloved. So smart, so kind, so funny, really funny. He's an entertainer at heart. He's an entertainer. You can go look up old videos. There's a video on YouTube that exists of an NCAA tournament selection show on ESPN. It had to have been like the mid '90s. He was at VCU as the head coach at the time, and John Saunders was the host, and they had a few active head coaches on their panel, and it just became the Sonny Smith show. He was hilarious, and everybody else kind of gave way to Sonny in the conversation. Like, all right, look, we're just going to let him talk because he's more entertaining than anybody on this show. And for 12 years, he did almost every single game on the radio with us. So it was brilliant as an entertainer, brilliant with his insight to the game of basketball and his relatability and able to communicate it well. And so, at the end of the day, time is undefeated, and it's just undefeated. And this year, be it Paul Ellen on the football broadcast or Sonny on the basketball broadcast, we've had to take an L to time. And, we miss Sonny on the radio, but man, oh man, just what he has given to our basketball audience throughout the year has been wonderful.
Man, good stuff there, Brad. Good stuff. Yeah, certainly that's a great line. Time is indeed undefeated as it keeps ticking each day. All right, previewing the game tomorrow night. Again, that'll be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 6:30 p.m. pregame coverage, 7 o'clock tip-off here in the Central Time Zone. What's Auburn looking for with Kent State coming into town?
Yeah, Kent State, similar to Vermont, they have similar KenPom ratings. They're similar in their makeup. They have a lot of veteran players. They actually have two transfers. One had to sit out last year. The other is a new transfer that were double-digit scorers at their previous stops. Rob Senderhoff is the coach at Kent State. He's the winningest coach all time at that school. So it's a team that is going to play disciplined. It's going to play smart. It's a little tougher to speed up teams like this. Auburn was able to do it to Vermont, though, quite effectively, and I would imagine that, Auburn would do the same thing again to Kent State. But I like games like this, games that Kent State was picked third in the MAC this year, preseason. You like playing a team that's poised and has the ability to reveal a few things if you have things that are, that can be exposed. This is a team that could do it. I just think over the course of 40 minutes, the talent and the speed and the strength is a little too much for a team like this to handle.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, good game for Auburn, continue working on their rotations, the depth, all those different things that, you look to figure out early in the season now that they've got past that huge matchup against Houston. Obviously, we talked about some of the big games coming up. Brad, we appreciate it as always, and hopefully the next time we talk, we'll be gearing up for probably the Maui. Well, that might be the Thanksgiving week, so we may need to pivot to the week after that. We'll be getting ready for the Maui Invitational, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that is the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Maui is the week of Thanksgiving. So if y'all are not If are you not doing shows the week of Thanksgiving?
We might not be. I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay.
Not 100% yet. I think I'm heading up to North Alabama. Just don't know which day yet. But yeah. But we appreciate you as always, and hopefully one day I'll get up to Neville Arena to see Auburn play some basketball.
It'll be awesome. We'd love to set it up. Thanks for having me as always, War Eagle.
All right, thank you, Brad. War Eagle. You guys listen to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back for our final segment on this Tuesday.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
So Augie and Rick and the rest of you Louisiana losers, remember these words. I stand behind Alabama and we'll go to war for the Crimson Tide, Paul. This is Nick Saban of pressure washing, and I don't give a about nothing but my Tide, Paul.
Guy gets right to the point, doesn't he?
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Looking for a fast and convenient blood draw? Come to Panhandle CPR, 97 Oak Avenue in downtown Panama City. We partner with all local and national labs to get you quick, accurate results. No insurance? No problem. We offer affordable self-pay options so you can stay on top of your health. And for added convenience, we'll even come to you at your home or workplace. Call us at 850-381-4288 or visit panhandlecpr.com. Panhandle CPR, keeping our community healthy and safe every day.
This is where the reigning SEC tournament champions play.
Left wing, another long three ball. Mike Kelly. Goodness gracious. That's a logo three. Knocked away by Broom. Has a breakaway to the hole. Tigers picked up exactly where they left off.
The Tigers host the Kent State Golden Flashes. Catch the coverage at 6:30 p.m. Central Wednesday on your official home for Auburn basketball.
ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot.
God damn. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Before we talk about more of the NFL scores from this past weekend, a couple soccer games coming up tonight for Bay County. You got North Bay Haven taking on Mosley, Bay traveling to take on Navarre, Destin traveling to take on Bozeman, and just want to give everybody a heads up, Arnold was supposed to be taking on Choctaw at Ferry Field in Fort Walton tonight, but that has been canceled due to poor field conditions. So if you hadn't heard yet and you were planning on making the trip over there to watch the 2-0 Arnold Marlins defending national champions take on Choctaw, make sure you don't head on over there because the game has been canceled. All right, let's talk about some of the NFL games. Let's see how many we can get through. The battle for the worst team in the NFL showed its ugly head in overtime as the game in Germany, tough draw for the Germans to get the Giants and the Panthers, a battle of two.
Hey, at least it was a good game, though,
It
right?
was a great game.
That's
as far
all
as
that
the
matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Jones threw 2 interceptions. Chuba Hubbard answering the call for his big contract extension, 153 on the ground and a touchdown. But the Panthers ended up getting the dub, 20-17 in overtime. After the Giants fumbled it on their possession, Panthers went down and Panthers immediately basically kicked a field goal. We were watching that on the Jumbotron in the stadium. The Patriots handed the Bears another loss. Basically, ever since that Hail Mary didn't go their way, the Bears have been on a skid. And as we mentioned in the first segment of the show, offensive coordinator Shane Waldron was let go earlier this morning. The Bears now fall to 4-5 after losing to a New England Patriots team that's really not that good, 19-3. Now Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick in the draft, has lost to number 2 pick in the draft, Jaden Daniels, and now the number 3 pick in the draft, Drake May.
Let's go 2 and 3, baby.
There you go. There you go. The Bears have a rough schedule the rest of the way, too. They could easily not win another game. They're home against the Packers, home against the Vikings, on the road against the Lions, on the road against the Niners, on the road against the Vikings, home against the Lions, home against the Seahawks, and then finish the season out on the road against the Packers. Obviously, a lot of opportunity in that schedule as well, but certainly a difficult schedule. Buffalo Bills, despite Josh Allen throwing 2 interceptions, got the win over the Indianapolis Colts 30-20. Allen just continues to be that fantasy monster with all those rushing yards as well as rushing touchdowns. The Chiefs, we did talk about it in the first segment, but they remain unbeaten, finding ways to win games pretty much every game, as they've been down in 8 out of 9 games. They've been behind in the game at one point. Blocked field goal attempt sealed the deal. Chiefs have still yet to lose, 9-0 on the season. Tough loss there for the Broncos, as they were pretty much in control most of that game, but now 5-5 on the season. Another surprising result from this past weekend, the Saints getting a victory 20-17. It's a tough loss for the Falcons because they really needed that one to keep pace over. I mean, the Bucs, they dropped the game against the Niners, but really not that far out. The Falcons have a tougher schedule down the stretch, at the Broncos, home against the Chargers, at the Vikings, at the Raiders, home against the Giants, on the road against the Commanders, and then finish the season with the Carolina Panthers. So a good win for the Saints, just to get a win on the another win in the record side, but a tough loss for the Falcons. I think Younghoe Koo missed 3 field goals.
Yeah, I believe so.
If I'm not mistaken. So tough there for the Falcons on the road, and Kirk Cousins had a good game, threw a pick, but did not have a great completion percentage. And Saints defense still looking pretty good. The Honey Badger got a nice interception there as well for the Saints. We already talked about it a little bit at length, but the Niners walk-off field goal. The fourth quarter of that football game was a great fourth quarter, back and forth, and of course the Niners muffed another punt. You start the half just perfectly. You get a 3-and-out, you're getting the ball back, and then they muffed that punt. We couldn't watch the replay, but from our angle, it looked like the Niners...
It was close.
Got pushed into him, but obviously they did not call that on the field.
I wouldn't have been surprised had they called that, but also it was one of those where it's not like the 49ers blocker kind of was, it's not like he was helping. Land, it's not like he was helping his cause either. So it was one of those situations where bang bang, and I feel like the refs made the right call right there.
Yeah, and obviously that's the way it went, and luckily they overcome that and 3 missed field goals. Man, Bucky Irving is fun to watch run. That guy is Rashad White's kind of taking a back seat to Bucky when it comes to the snap counts and all that. But man, that guy can run. He's got great moves, great spin moves, and it was cool to hear the fans chanting Bucky, Bucky. They've really embraced the rookie Bucky Irving in Tampa Bay. Juwan Jennings had a nice game in his first game back after a couple weeks being gone with injury. 93 yards on 7 receptions, including some crucial things. It was Christian McCaffrey's first game back this year. He had an impact. There was a couple times inside the red zone where he came out of the backfield and got a first down on a pass, and then, of course, had a nice wheel route as well for a crucial play in the fourth quarter. Christian McCaffrey only had 39 yards on the ground, but added 68 yards in the air. So that's really what we were missing with Mason and Garendo was a running back that was also a threat in the backfield. And Shanahan, I think it was 85 85 or 86% of the snaps, Christian McCaffrey was on the field. So Jordan Mason didn't get a touch in that game, and Garendo, I think, had one because McCaffrey had to come off because he was tired. And then, of course, George Kittle had a monster touchdown reception on that scramble by Purdy. But big win for the Niners, and Bucs have just lost a lot of close games. Obviously, still feeling the effects not having Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. The Pittsburgh Steelers got a huge victory over the Washington Commanders. We obviously didn't see any of these early window games, but final score in that one, 28-27, as the Steelers got a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and now 7-2 on the season. Commanders still 7-3. I think now tied for the lead in the division with the Philadelphia Eagles. But
they play Thursday Night Football, man. That's going to be huge. Right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. The Chiefs and Bills are going to be huge, too. Also right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Man, just the gift keeps on giving. But yes, Steelers, man. Russell Wilson, Mike Tomlin, who would have thought? Who would have thought? Justin Fields is going to be the guy there for a little while, but
yeah, I think that's what the more fun, interesting storyline is how well Justin Fields kind of played, and then Russell Wilson comes in and it's like, okay, well, maybe the Steelers are on to another level, and it's been interesting. And you just, I mean, we do it every year, I think, or for the last 3 years, really, since Big Ben's retired. Maybe a couple years after that, the Steelers still were competitive, but it's like everyone wants to count out Mike Tomlin. I just don't know how you do that.
No, obviously one of the better coaches in the last 20 years, given I don't think he's ever been under 500 or even been 500 in his season since he's been coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers. Minnesota Vikings got an ugly win over the Cleveland Jaguars. I don't know why I said that. Jacksonville Jaguars, despite Sam Darnold throwing 3 picks, they still scored 6 in the final frame to win 12-7. More of a baseball score in that one, but a win nonetheless. Vikings improved to 7-2. Jags now dropped to 2-8. Chargers continue to roll. They beat the Titans with Will Levis's but his return back to the quarterbacking helm. Not a bad game. 2 touchdowns, 175 yards. But the Chargers and Justin Herbert has not thrown a pick, I think, since week 1.
Wow.
So he's obviously playing some great football. Jim Harbaugh's doing Jim Harbaugh things and having his football team win games. Chargers improved to 6-3, 27-17 in that victory. I know the Chargers-Chiefs game will be fun whenever that hits the schedule again. Eagles, as I mentioned, the Cowboys are the first team in NFL history to be down by 20-plus points in 5 consecutive home games. First time ever. And the Eagles just kind of poured it on. Jalen Hurts, didn't have to do anything too fancy. Saquon didn't have a monster game, but hey, you scored 34 points to the Cowboys 6, who, Cowboys are just, they're in a tough spot, especially with the contracts that, it'd be a little different if they didn't extend Dak right before the season started. Obviously, CD's younger and you got to pay him, but build around him. But, I don't know. It's going to be.
I just don't think building around a wide receiver.
Yeah.
How many cases has that worked out in? Maybe Justin Jefferson? Are they really built around Justin Jefferson? I don't think that's
really
fair to say.
I don't think there's anybody really that's done it, but yeah.
It just goes to show you how poorly of a ran organization the Dallas Cowboys are. And listen, I think Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys to some extent do get a little bit of a pass because of how the rest of the season is going to play out. But also, let's look at what happened, what transpired prior to you losing those pieces. And, it's I think it's fun to see for a lot of NFL fans, but I know if you're a Cowboys fan, you just got to be reeling.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, imagine being a Commanders fan. You hate the Cowboys, and then you guys get really good, and then the Cowboys just go the complete opposite direction. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with drafts. And, there's a lot of talk right now with Deion and Shador. And is Deion going to go coach one of these teams that needs a coach? He's going to bring his son with him. Going to be interesting to see. The offseason will certainly be a lot of fun. And then the Cardinals, man, just Kyler Murray playing great football. Apparently, Black Ops 6 has got him motivated as not only is he...
That defense is lights out too right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And the Jets are just, they're one of the other dumpster fires in the league. So, the whole Aaron Rodgers experiment, I think at this point is over, as he's currently with the Pat McAfee show. I think as he is every Tuesday during this time. But, Kyler Murray, man, 266 in the air, 22 of 24 completion percentage there. That's over 80%. Pretty spectacular. And then he also added 3 for 21 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So we're certainly seeing the Kyler Murray that everybody expected when he was drafted. You've seen shades of that over the past several years, but certainly bringing it to the table a little bit more now. And then Sunday night football, a lot of people probably went to bed thinking that the Texans were going to win that one. But man, Jake Bates, he used to be on the Texans, and Fairbairn got the gig, and then the Lions picked up Bates. Man, he was clutch down the stretch, made a game-tying field goal, and then, of course, a game-winning field goal to walk off that win, despite Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions in that game. And C.J. Stroud, man, I don't know. I watched a good bit of that game, and, you know, that interception he threw that was supposed to go to Nico Collins in the end zone, it was just, he kind of lobbed it up there, and then it got intercepted by I forget the defender, but that Detroit that picked it off right side. And you watch from behind, and Collins was wide open.
Collins wasn't playing.
Who was?
Was it?
Tank Dell. I was just saying Collins because I'm an idiot. But yeah, Tank Dell was wide open, moving across the end zone, and CJ just throws it up, kind of lob, because he didn't. The safety was really far over, and when he looked, the guy was wide open, so he didn't think he had to zip it in there. Man, he lobs it up, throws it short, and boom, gets picked off, and kind of changes things there for the Houston Texans.
Which is kind of wild, just because C.J. Stroud has the arm strength to zip that in there, as you mentioned, and just didn't go that way. And it's hard to say that one play ended up, of course, because there were so many plays. But
I just missed one leg in that game, and it was Tank Dell with six receptions. That would have been the 6th reception.
Oh man, so that's another pain to it.
Yeah, but you know,
for me, it was a Tank Dell touchdown and a Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown. I just thought that they was going to be scoring all over the place, and
it did.
Instead, they were turning the ball over.
7 total interceptions in that game between both quarterbacks, 5 on the Detroit side. And of course, last night you had the Dolphins at the Rams there, and Tua Tagovailoa got the job done. Matt Stafford, they tried to come back late in that game, but just a little, not enough there at the end. But Tyreek Hill, for all you fantasy owners there, got his first receiving touchdown since the week 1 of the NFL season, and just proves how important Tua Tagovailoa is to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're such a more so well-oiled machine whenever he can get the ball out quickly to them, and they're fun to watch as well. And Jonnu Smith, I think, has been a huge part of that offense as well since Tua's comeback.
Yep, no doubt. Those off the McDaniel, the Shanahan, those guys love to use their tight ends, and Jonnu's been doing a wonderful job. And then the rookie Washington had he really put the Jets on, and that's kind of what got the game going for the Dolphins, was on that end around, I believe is what it was, and then score diving into the end zone. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today on the Inside Drive. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4. Like I mentioned, Auburn Tigers basketball tomorrow at 7 p.m. Tip-off coverage starts at 6:30. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with Jay and Keith Fleming. Y'all have a great Tuesday afternoon.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Afternoon Underdogs.
And we're going to take the Rebels at the house to knock off the Georgia Bulldogs and continue the chaos that is happening in the Southeastern Conference. Give me Ole Miss, and give it to me late and close.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.